What is the creepiest confession / most disturbing that you have heard from an otherwise normal person? I used to help out at a nursing home. This old Russian lady would relate the same tale over and over. Her husband drank and hit her. It was sad for sure. But one day she leaned over and whispered he was asshole drunk, so I pushed him downstairs. Dead. A friend had told me for years about the dark secret in his past that he can't tell anybody. Eventually he felt comfortable enough to confess, and he really was not exaggerating. When he was young he raped his younger sister. The family knew about it and they all got counseling and stuff at the time. He and his sister are friends now. But fuck. I had a friend confess that every time he stayed at my apartment, which was frequently, because we lived in different countries, sometimes he would stay for a month and at a time, he watched me sleep. I woke with him staring at me, he was literally inches away from my face just staring and I freaked out. He broke down and confessed. My husband was asleep next to me. That was the most creepy for sure. It also ended our friendship. A colleague confessed that she had sex with her brother throughout her childhood and early adolescence. She also told me she despises her brother's wife because she is in love with her brother and is insanely jealous of his life and kids. She has never had a relationship and fears she will never be married or have kids of her own. Foxy Grandpa. I started seeing a girl about a month ago. She recently told me she was raped when she was 5. Her parents were druggies and had her at a young age, so she stayed with her grandma. But my girl's grandma was a drunk, so she would have her son, my girl's uncle, take care of her. He was about 25 when this happened. As the story goes, he went to go score whatever drugs he was on at the time and left his 5-year-old niece unattended in the car for who knows how long. When he returned, he found her covered in blood. She had reconstructive surgery on her vagina from where the guy tore her open. She confided all of this in me before I went down on her because she has confidence issues because one side looks stretched, doesn't bother me one bit. She says she still remembers his face and tries not to think about it. The most fucked up thing is when the uncle brought her home, they did nothing. Because he was buying drugs at his dealer's house when it happened, they did nothing. To save the fuckhead uncle that brought the 5-year-old around a bunch of junkies. Who knows what actually happened? He could have allowed it to happen for drugs. About 6 months after this happened, he killed himself. OD. My girl says she doesn't like talking about it, so I don't ever bring it up. But I know it has definitely affected her mentally. I just wish there was something I could do to help her forget. Drowning without water. My ex-boyfriend could not handle our breakup. I broke it off with him because of significant issues, drugs, stealing, etc. I finally got out of it. He didn't. He would not give up on me. At first he was desperate at trying to get back with me, following me, waiting in obscure locations for when I walked to my car, and even threatening to kill himself if I didn't see him. I blocked his numbers, changed my email, transferred colleges, moved a state away, and tried to move on with my life. He was in and out of jail for drugs and stealing in addition to concealed weapons charges. Which was scary for me knowing all the times when he confronted me alone. It was about 4 or so years later when I received the creepiest phone call. It was him calling to tell me that he was looking for me all this time. The tone of his voice, the horrific laughter, I freaked out. I called my parents and informed them, hey, if I go missing, this is who has me. I called campus security and made sure they had his description. He never showed up, but my God, the voice on the other end of the line still brings chills. It scares me to this day that he is out there possibly looking for me. Luckily I've become more aware of precautions to take. Pepper spray, learning self-defense, etc. If I was in another state where obtaining a gun was easier, I would have done so. Unfortunately it's not so easy where I am now. I do however have panic buttons and GPS locators, so if something were to happen, I can be found. I try not to let fear or paranoia run my life. I try to take the best precautions, but I will always have that fear that just around the corner, he will be waiting for me.